just fine. Right, Ruth?
And we have yet another comedy to review, and that's the pregnancy comedy Citizen Ruth, starring Laura Dern and Swoozie Kurtz, directed by Alexander Payne. It has a Letterboxd score of 3.6 out of 5, an IMDb of 7 out of 10, a Rotten Tomatoes of 80% fresh, and a Metacritic of 63. As for accolades, it was nominated for the Grand Jury Prize at the Sundance Film Festival. I don't know why this is a movie I have yet to watch of Alexander Payne's. I've seen, I believe, almost all of them, except Downsizing. I think that's the only one I haven't seen. Citizen Ruth. This was a great movie. Both hilarious and kind of scary in some instances. Great performances by Kurtwood Smith, Swoozie Kurtz, and especially Laura Dern. Laura Dern does an incredibly good job in this film. She basically plays an addict, a very unsympathetic, crude addict. And the performance she has not only shows the truth of what her character is going through, just the constant drug use, the lying, the cheating, the stealing, but she also finds a way to make her feel sympathetic and likable in a weird way. Her character is unrepugnant. She is terrible to people. She yells, she screams, but again, she's in the throes of addiction as well, so that might be why. And within the satire that the film is playing on, it's a fantastic performance. It's a really good performance. I was very surprised, but well, not surprised by it. Laura Dern is actually really good. I was just surprised with the depth that Dern was able to actually do the performance. Speaking of the satire, this is a very dark but really funny satire about... Oh, God. Okay. I have to try to not use the words that that YouTube don't like me to use. So, what do I call this? Premeditated baby deletion is what we're going to call... God, I hate this. Ugh. Oh my God. Okay, so I wouldn't say it's very dark. It is a dark comedy about premeditated baby deletion. But what I really like about the film is that it's not really about that. It's about the people who surround themselves in that cause. And what's interesting about the film is that it feels honest. Everyone has kind of a point as to how they think, why they think that way, and they show them in a sympathetic light until they don't. So, for example, what happens in the film is that Ruth gets her bail paid up by a Christian couple who wants her to keep her baby. And halfway through the film, she ends up with another group that wants her to have the choice to abort the baby. But they kind of do the same things in order to convince her to do either or. But it's a very pointed and direct way of saying, these people are two sides of the same coin. And what I really like about this film is that it also shows that as much as these people are doing this because they feel like they're helping people, they're really not helping people at all with what they're doing. In fact, the person they're trying to help, which is Ruth, it feels like none of them are helping. It makes all sides look bad in a certain way, including Ruth, but Ruth has a built-in excuse because she's an addict. She has serious mental health problems. She has all sorts of issues. It feels honest in a way. What I really like about this film, and as bad as Ruth is in this film with her addiction and everything, she ends up being the most sympathetic person and the person that changes the most. Now, she doesn't change all that much. But what I really like about the film, it seems to be a film about agency. It seems to be a film about thinking for yourself. And even though Ruth is a person that can't really think for herself all that well, she manages to do it within all these people who seem highly intelligent and very educated about what they're talking about. And she's the only one who grows from it by I won't spoil it. I won't spoil it, but it feels honest. I think what's funniest about this film is that it's a kind of political satire that won't get made today. Now, it could get made today. Someone could do it. But someone would tell me if you were to have the script of this film today and take it into a meeting or take it to a producer and say, this is what I want to make, they will find 100 reasons not to do it, and you'll end up not doing it. You could offend this group. You could offend that group. Or you won't find an audience, this and that. It's a film that I think if people would watch it, they might get something different out of it, which to me was not only about the premeditated baby deletion aspect, but I think really it's about politics in general. It's about groups of people who are overly political, who think they're doing the right thing, but they're not really doing anything. They're not helping anybody. They're not really doing anything that's going to better anybody's life. They just end up bettering themselves in weird ways. And it's a film that shows that really well. And it's why right now Citizen Ruth is one of my favorite movies I've seen this year. character. I'm surprised I haven't watched all of Alexander Payne's films, but this one is a really good, I will tell you, it does get dark comedy, and I would highly recommend Citizen Ruth. In every episode of Watch Rate Heart, I not only give you my opinions of the films I'm watching, I also give you the opinions of the Letterboxd community. This first one is from Dallas Franco. Dallas gives it 4.5 stars out of 5, and Dallas says, Alexander Payne does a great job of making both sides of the premeditated baby deletion debate seem manipulative, maniacal, and self-serving, but this movie hinges on Laura Dern's unhinged performance. Yes, absolutely. She's crazy in this film, but she is really good. People use religion, money, and the media to manipulate Ruth to serve their own ends. It's all about as subtle as suck the shit out of my ass, but but it works because of Laura Dern's huffing on wood sealant performance. She strikes the perfect balance between making Ruth an unsympathetic character and still eking out some sympathy. Yes, that is what is so good about Laura Dern's performance, is she's able to show both and make it all work. I haven't seen Downsizing yet because of its near universal panning, neither have I, actually. But man, can we use Alexander Payne's perspective these days. Here's to hoping we hear more from him. Yeah, I would love to have another Alexander Payne film. This review came before The Holdover, so I'd have to check out what he thought of that film. But yeah, he's absolutely right about Laura Dern's performance. She is vital in the film. It's a really good performance. All right, we have a shorter one. This one is from Laura. Laura gives it 3.5 stars out of 5, and Laura says, Laura Dern can do it all, makes an explosive character feel both unsettling and lovable. Yep, absolutely. Alice said pretty much all I have to say as well with this, so I'm not going to repeat it, but Laura's absolutely right. This next one is from Johnny Andrews. Johnny Andrews gives it 3 stars out of 5, and Johnny says, a black comedy that's almost so black it sometimes stray too far away from humor and satire. I wouldn't say it's that black. I will say watching Ruth getting high can get kind of disturbing, but anyway. Interesting to see that in his debut, Alexander Payne hit the ground running, showing us people who are at a loss in life, unmoored, and drifting into uncharted waters. This wasn't as enjoyable as Payne's later films. I don't think it was meant to be, but yeah. Partly because Laura Dern's character wasn't a sympathetic character. I don't think I'd want to watch this again, just because she was so difficult to empathize with. And he also mentions that David Graff, it was nice to see him. He was from the Police Academy movies as a judge who dealt with Ruth's case for the first 20 minutes. Interesting perspective. I can understand where he's coming from, though. Laura Dern's character is crude, loud, obnoxious, childlike, and destructive. But I feel like you sympathize with her at the end of the film. And Johnny felt differently, but I can understand where he's coming from. And finally, this last review is from Peter Labuza. Peter gives it 3.5 stars out of 5, and Peter says, speaks so wonderfully for itself, but I just wanted to note how great the final shot of the film is, which is what I call a pitch-perfect satire. Yes, that final shot is really good. That final sequence is actually really good, because I was sitting there going, no way. You gotta be kidding. But yeah, like I said, I think the satire and the comedy and everything about this film is brilliant. So in review, I think this film has great performances by Kurtwood Smith, Swoosie Kurtz, and especially Laura Dern. This is a very dark but really funny satire about premeditated baby deletion. I love how all sides look good and bad, including Ruth. It just makes it feel more honest as a satire, and it's the kind of political satire that I feel won't get made today. Could get made today, but won't get made today. I really like this film. In fact, I love this film. I'm giving Citizen Ruth 4.5 stars out of 5 with a heart. Dern's performance is key to this movie working, but really, this is just a very funny and very thoughtful satire about premeditated baby deletion. And again, like I said, I love how it shows all sides working on a selfish playbook that really makes both sides look bad, and it also makes Ruth look bad in a certain way. But I do like what they do at the end with Ruth and how they portray her character and how they make you sympathize with her, even though personality-wise, she doesn't change at all. But it's a really brilliant performance by Dern. If you're a fan of Laura Dern and you haven't seen this film, you should. I think you would really like it. So, 4.5 stars out of 5 with a heart for Citizen Ruth. If you have not seen this film, you love Laura Dern or Alexander Payne, you should check this out. It's an excellent film. If you liked any of the reviewers I've highlighted in this episode, you can check the video description for a link to their Letterboxd profile. Be sure to give them a follow and let them know that Brad from Watch Rate Heart sent you. You can follow me on Letterboxd and X at Watch Rate Heart. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it and share with your friends. I'm Brad from Watch Rate Heart. Thank you for watching, and remember, we all watch and rate movies, but you give them the heart that makes them live forever.